before and Rome Baptiste. So I'm not sure there, but if we look over to the team, the players who are on that, it's Anime Save Me, who is the captain on that glaive. So it's going to be the Rome glaive this time.
Flex pick glaive indeed. But having Delphire with the Lyra, you have the bright bulwark. So you have to time it right so that you will neutralize any threat that Anime Save Me will get to your team with the afterburn.
Yeah, and it's Artisan's actually making an aggressive push up in the lane here, and Han Jaeger's already down to half health, and Lyra there as well with the Artisan's technique to help slow them down. But in response to that, Anime Save Me has gone deep into the enemy jungle there, knowing that Artisans are going to make that full team rotation into their own jungle, playing the top half of that. Meanwhile, Baptiste able to really, or I think as Luxura would like me to say, Baptiste. Clearing out that backs of his own, and they're just going to move up into lane and help out Han Jaegers at the moment. So, I think good job by Anime Save Me to go to the backs of Artisans there to take at least something away from that and not be a complete loss.
But Rosie has to be careful here. Oh, and there goes the afterburn. Rosie actually survived that one. No follow-up, but then Grumpjaw got into Han Jaeger. Han Jaeger dies, and now Official Han doing a duel with Grumpjaw. Grumpjaw dies.
Yeah, and what looks like really Elite 8 able to secure that kill, but Grumpjaw coming out of nowhere and able to pick up the first blood instead. It was a trade out 1-for-1 at the end of it, but I really thought Elite 8 were going to be able to make a play out of that one with Anime Save Me coming around from the back with the afterburn. And I think it shows that we might be seeing a fairly close game between these two. What do you think?
Yeah, fairly close game, but I have my eyes on Anime Save Me for making the plays with the afterburn. So I think I'm going with the lineup for.
Speaking of that, he goes in with afterburn onto Roasty Me Toasty, and that's just an easy pickup kill for Han Jaegers, especially with the minions bit to help out in this early game. But we can't count out Artisans yet, as Deity starts picking a fight with Official Han in this jungle, really just trying to get control of this mid-tree amp right now. It looks like Anime Save Me maybe in a bad position, needs to be careful not to get caught out by that Grumpjaw, because you will get slowed down, but it's going to be Han Jaegers with a rotation down to the tree amp.
Oh, Grumpjaw actually gets the tree, and the Han Jaegers going in for the Grumpjaw dies, and Han Jaegers backs away from that one. What do you think about the lineup of Artisan so far?
I was happy when I saw them making that Lyra pick as opposed to the previous matchups. It shows that they learned why and they could understand. But it's whether Artisan's confident in playing with that around that Lyra comp. I mean, this could work out for them, but they really have to team fight here, and it looks like for the most part they keep getting caught out on their own. And when it comes to that glaive having the utility with the afterburn and the damage coming out from either Baptiste or Gwen seems to be enough for Elite 8 to kind of go in these 2v2 situations. But it's going to be Anime Save Me diving in a bit deep.
Yeah, I agree, but and with the current lineup, you build the Lyra, as I was telling earlier. You really have to time the bright bulwark really well for you to neutralize any threat that the glaive will get to your team, because one good afterburn can cost you one teammate that fast.
Yeah, and I think it's also going up against the team comp that Elite 8 has built up. It's kind of a good choice there with the burst damage that's going to be coming out from Han Jaegers, especially once they pick up that tension bow. They haven't gone back to base yet, or maybe once, but they're still sitting on that book of eulogies and double weapon blade, followed by a swift shooter. I can really see once Gwen picks up that tension bone, you can really see them feeding the gold into Gwen right now, or even letting Gwen go down to the jungle, and that's Official Hein giving over some farm to Han Jaegers, who is sitting actually behind Kestrel. So Kestrel's been doing the same tactic as we look over now into the enemy jungle. So both these teams really focusing on their carries getting ahead right now.
But what do you think about the atomization coming in from these stars? I mean, with okay, hold on. Okay. Well, as I was saying, what do you think about the itemization coming in from DD Stars? I mean, you usually build Tension Bow for Grumpjaw early game for you to be able to burst down Hunt Jaegers or any carry.
Well, I think that it looks like I'm too much of a play-by-play caster to do that. But I think it really is Deity Stars could do with a bit more damage, but they are going for a more utility build. It's kind of almost similar to when they go utility glaive. But in this sense, it looks like he might go towards the Storm Guard soon. And you talked about maybe a Tension Bow would have been a good pick. If he hasn't started building towards that at this point, I think maybe it's a bit too late and he's just going to have to go for the Aftershock instead.
Yeah, I mean, also look at Batiste and Glaive. They built the early armor for the Grumpjaw, so you know you won't expect much damage coming in from them for now.
Yeah, and we see a one-shot, one-kill being opened up on Anime Save Me, maybe just to gain the 5 stacks on there for the adrenaline and able to not use up so much energy, which will help Roasty Me Toasty just be a bit more sustainable in this lane, especially with the help of Lyra there. But we really haven't seen any engagements coming out from Artisans too much. It's definitely been a bit more Elite 8 playing this one aggressively, and it's how I said they should play with the team comp they have. So it's good to see them doing that so far, but we'll have to see how it plays out from here.
Yeah, Anime Sammy is looking for a good afterburn. Oh, there goes the afterburn. Gets Kestrel, and there goes the Aces high. Gets Kestrel. Roasty Me Toasty about to die. Anime Sammy back stop now. Official Hand getting targeted. Grumpjaw stop is very angry. Oh, they get Anime Save Me from the turret, but they also trade in for Batiste.
Well, I guess that's not too bad considering that the Roma on the side of Elite 8 is the Glaive and was able to take out the jungle. And that's the thing, that Deity Stars on this Grumpjaw is almost like a second Roma at the moment, just being a bit tankier. And of course, going to go up to now being level 6, having that stuffed ability will kind of be more so utility rather than Deity Stars going in for damage. And Roasty Mitosi is kind of going to have to be the one on the back lines to deal that damage out for that team. And Doubtfire's job is really just to keep everyone on there nice and healthy and alive. And as you said, you pointed out earlier, for Bright Bulwark, of course, you do need to watch out for this Glaive because he is the key to initiation for Elite 8.
Yeah, and look at the itemization coming in from DD Stars too. I think it's going for utility rather than the burst. I mean, I mean, for me, it's better to have. Oh, but there is another afterburn, good afterburn, and Roasty Me Toasty got stuck sandwiched in between. Now Lyra backs away from that one. Ace is high. Miss Enemy Save Me. Get in the turret, but oh my God, it was just too fast. You know, it was really good afterburn from Enemy Save Me.
You know, I understand Deity Stars idea, but with Anime Save Me, you're going to go in with Afterburn. That's going to be the, well, the kill going over, the double kill, actually. Well, not a double kill, but both the two of the players on our sense going down, as well as the turret over to Elite 8. So Elite 8 with a strong start here, now 7 kills to 2 over, and 19.7k gold over to the 16.8. So with a fair gold lead there at the moment. I'm just wondering how Deity Stars needs to prioritize using the stuffed ultimate. He goes for the Glaive, and I understand that because Glaive is in there causing havoc, but it's a bit similar to a situation when you've got a hero diving on the front line, it doesn't always mean that's the hero you should go for. Just because they're up in your face, it's more of like, you see that hero and instinct tells you you need to take care of them. But really, I think Deity Stars would be better off trying to stuff the Baptiste or Hanyegas, the ones who are actually on the back line doing the damage, rather than just going straight for Anime Save Me, who is actually the roam on the side of Elite 8.
Well, I agree, and I think that the priority for Grumpjaw here is to eat Batiste, because Batiste does almost all the CC for Team Elite. Oh, and there goes the Hangria again.
Yeah, you see him going onto the same target there, going onto the Glaive, and then Glaive just gonna... it doesn't really matter for Glaive, he's tanky enough, and you see Official Hind and Anime Savvy kind of able to clean up the rest because they weren't targeted as much, and it kind of falls apart for Arsons in that sense as they lose their second turret, and maybe even a third here as they push in with the ace of minions.
This is a fast game for them with 3 turrets in under 10 minutes. It's a fast game. You know,
just at 10 minutes actually.
Yeah, as I was saying, with Grumpjaw, you have to build the damage or the tension bow for you to be able to burst Gwen or either Batiste. It will be hard for you to burst Gwen because of her skedaddle and her kit, so you go for Batiste. Hello?
Yeah, and we now see is actually the breaking point already picked up as a third weapon item on Gwen, and you were just talking about Gwen being so hard to lock down. It's going to be even harder for them now, especially with Kestrel behind in farm at this point, just slightly now at 103, so that got turned around from earlier, and Gwen now at 119, but they might be able to steal this one as they go in, but it doesn't look like it. Grumpjaw just going to dive into that one and is going to fall to the Gwen, and Roasty Me Toasty might pick up the kill on Official Hind, but the lifesteal is too much. Meanwhile, Gwen able to pick up the ace for the team, and that's Elite 8 winning another fight there. And I was just talking about the itemization when Roasty Me Toasty is now quite a far bit behind Hun Jaegers, who really, when I talked in the draft phase, I said the team with Lyra should have that window of opportunity to play with, you don't need to build so much defense and you can go for more attack, and maybe that would be why it would be nicer to see Grumpjaw pick up a tension bow and not worry about early game defense as much, because you have the Lyra there to help you. You really need to utilize that Lyra to get you through the early game, and then you can snowball into the late game, because now we see Roasty Me Toasty only with a Sorrow Blade and Breaking Point, meanwhile Hun Jaegers with that Poison Shift, Sorrow Blade and Breaking Point. It's really just too much for them to deal with, but I think other than that, it really can come down to the engagement. So Deity Stars maybe need to work a bit more on target prioritization.
Yeah, I agree, and you know, Hun Jaegers having the poison shield actually counters the heals coming in from Lyra, and you know, when you I mean, you shouldn't miss the Bright Bulwark. It's really a crucial game, and it was apparent in the early game when Anime Savvy was ganking, and then now they're getting the Crystal Sentry here with 1 life remaining.
Yeah, and it looks like I agree with you there that because Lyra didn't use the Bright Bulwark earlier and didn't use it then, actually uses it later, it does stop the rest of Elite 8, but only for a bit, and I think it might actually just help Artisan get out of that one safely. But you could see the, I think, active camo might have stunned up the rest of Elite 8. Arsenal's need to be careful here not to fight Anime Savvy going in once again, and then there's going to be the disdain onto Lyra, who gets stunned up and can't do anything to help her team, as Grumpjaw is going to be the next one to fall, and Elite 8 on the runaway here as, I mean, Elite 8 pushing in as Arsenal's running back into their base.
We've also seen this play in VG where Anime Savvy plays Glaive. I mean, he is really good with playing Glaive. Oh, there goes the one-shot, one-kill, misses.
Ooh, that was a great... That's a great use of the ultimate there from Official Hind to really push away Roasty Me Toasty, or they might have given away the kill over there. And it could have been a turnaround point for Artisans, but Artisans still look like they're chasing a fair bit. They're starting to back off now, and there's an Echo pickup onto Glaive. I mean, it is the utility Glaive. It's going to have that afterburn up even more. So I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. I mean, usually when we see utility Glaive, it's for CP Glaive, but this is for Roam Glaive, so I guess you have that opportunity to pick up Echo. It's especially when you're playing Glaive Roam. You're not, you have no damage. You're basically relying on that afterburn, and it's kind of why I personally don't enjoy the pickup when I see utility Glaive, just because it's that one. One kill comes out by Roasty Me Toasty, able to steal away the gold mine. That's going to help them catch up just a bit, because at the moment they're 10k gold behind, and they needed that. They're 26.7 over to 36.8k gold of Elite 8. So, you know, do you think that Arsons can come back from this one, or is it too late, too long?
Well, I think they can still come back if they prioritize their targets. because they always go in for the Grave rather than the Batiste and the Gwen. But oh, okay, hold that thought. And they are looking for an engagement. No, they back away from that one, and they are getting Elite 8 is actually invading their jungle, denying them all of their farm.
Yeah, and that's really gonna hurt Artisans even more, as Elite 8 really just have control of this match, as they're kind of pushing towards Kraken that's now coming up onto the fold, and I think they're more than likely to turn their attention there or wait for a gank onto the enemy team, because there's
I think they're ganking here.
Yeah, there's no more Crystal Miners, Crystal Sentry, I believe it's called.
Okay,
but,
there goes the
you
Bright
see
Bulwark.
the Bright Bulwark used early to stop Anime Save Me, but it's not going to be there to save yourself later from the Afterburn, as Hanyeger's going in, and they're just taking out the team, as you see Hanyeger's and Official Hein able to stand back and deal the damage. That's an easy ace, quick cleanup, and
yeah, they're closing in the game now. I mean, with the Echo, it was so. I think it's a wise pickup with the Echo coming from an Anime Save Me, because you get 2 Afterburns in a short amount of time. You basically disable 2 teammates, two enemy heroes.
yeah, definitely well played by the side of Elite 8, and Anime Save Me on that glaive to really jungler is, you know, that's going to be the Scarf Jungle, which is fairly common as well. It's not so uncommon for Scarf Jungle, it's more just the fact of who they're going up against looks rather scary.
Agree. And I also think that they have Artisan here has to evade, or has to evade fights in the jungle, because you see Koshka is going to invade now. The whole Elite 8 team is going to invade now, so they have to push in the lane and get some pressure there. So you know, we see Official Heim harassing them. What do you think?
Well, is actually Anime Save Me able to Triange there, and this is really a good play, 1 to do because you have the Koshka, and 2 because you have the Lyra there to play aggressive and invade as a whole team. There was no rotation to the enemy backs, however, or at least in saying that, Elite 8's backs by Arsens. So Elite 8 being fairly successful with that one, now able to move on to the middle Triant, and this is really whether Elite 8 is going to be able to utilize that Lyra and Koshka, and if they do, I'm sure it's just such a good draft for them.
Well, what could go right here is the DT Stars to keep pressuring the lane, and then but one moment, Rosie Mitoli just gets got their Official Heim dashing around. There is a twirly kill. Baron.
And that's gonna be first blood going over onto Baron, and this is what about it being kind of like Deity Stars, or at least Scarf and Baron being kind of vulnerable, especially to Koshka. And you can imagine once even Lyra gets the Arcane Passage, that's going to provide a easy way for them to get onto the enemy hero even more so.
Hello? Hello? Might be turning
yes,
off.
hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm my internet. Anyway, yeah, well, going back to what I was saying earlier, DD Stars has to help his teammates to pressure the lane, because Koshka will keep on invading their jungle, so they have to trade it off with the first turret. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Deity Stars does have to keep up that pressure in lane, I agree with you there, but you've got to worry about Koshka just being able to have all this free reign early on, and we know how strong Koshka is early game, but it means she's going to have just that much more of a power spike, just being items ahead of Deity Stars as they move on. We now see Koshka actually going in and stealing that one away from Deity Stars, I believe, and just look at the damage they put down onto Deity Stars as they get caught out by Anime Save Me, and you see Doubtfire trying to rotate around, but as you said earlier, Finn just not mobile enough of a roamer to really help out in those kind of situations. I understand the Finn pickup. You want to have that polite company to provide a bit of defense to your carries like right now, but whether it's going to be enough is the question, as Official Hind jumps in and almost takes out Roasty Me Toasty.
Yeah, I agree. You know what would have been better pick is a Catherine? For that,
Roasty Me Toasty should go back. I'm so worried for him, but they're gonna Elite 8 gonna try pushing, and they actually managed to hold the defense on us inside.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, Catherine could have been a better pick for Team Artisan so that he can stun Koshka. But you know, this is the early game power of the Koshka as well with the Gwen, and Gwen is near completing that breaking point, and now they are invading in the jungle, and now Zelfire gets caught out. Official Heim targets Zelfire and just gets eliminated. Now Rosie Mitosi. Okay, now they're invading the jungle. Official Heim getting that treant. How about you? What can you say about this game so far?
Well, there's not so much of a gold lead, but I mean we're only 4 minutes in. It's almost a 2k gold lead with Elite 8 being at 9.8k over to the 8.5 for the side of Artisans, but you can see how that will slowly increase as they continue to steal farm away from Deity Stars. I think it's just going to put Deity Stars in a real bad position because right now Deity Stars and Rosie Mitosi actually sharing this lane farm, and you look over to like Han Jaegers, who's 10 farm ahead of Rosie Mitosi, sitting at 44 over to the 35 of Rosie. So it's really about how it's going to continue on. I think Elite 8 with a strong start, but as expected, it just depends whether Arsons can slow that down from here or if Elite 8's just going to get ahead of themselves and continue to push this one through.
And I also think for Official Heinz itemization, he picked up an early metal jacket. Oh, and there goes the aftershock. I was actually waiting for the early aftershock because for the scarf. Yeah, and there goes. Oh, look at that. Look at that damage coming from Baron. It looks like 1/4, but you know the sustain saved him. And there goes the throw. Elite 8 is wanting this turret. Anime Sami just gets burst. Gonna burst. No, he survives that one. Han Jaeger's doing the damage to Finn.
Yeah, great use of the fountain bear by Anime Save Me to get out that one just barely, but you can see that the lane focus is definitely, and I think it's very respective to Elite 8's general playstyle, always being objective focus, and they're either going for kills to get objectives or they're just going straight for those objectives, and that's why you saw, even if it's just a small bit of armor, the light jacket coming up from Koshka, knowing that they want to focus down this Baron and that's going to be their target, and they've done a good job so far because Baron, he's been able to hold off, but just barely. That turret is surely going to fall in just a second with Dalfar being the only one up in lane, but Destiny is actually going to rotate up there, and Koshka jumping in under turret does land a fair bit of damage and goes fairly low, but you can see the Imperial Sigil going to keep them just alive, and they're going to take that first turret as Rosie Mitosi makes it back up to the lane, but not in time.
Yeah, that's a good call coming in from Han Jaegers and Official Hein and Anime Signal. Fairly good. So you that's the power of the early game. You get that first turret, and then with the Koshka, you will be able to easily invade the jungle now that you have zoned them out of their first turret. They basically have no defense upon the entrance of the jungle.
Yeah, it definitely allows for a bit more team rotation by the side of Elite 8, who, and as a team, it's just going to be that much harder to deal with because so far we've just mostly seen ganks coming up from Official Heinz. But you can imagine if they catch out Scarf on his own, he's really going to have no escape from that. He has Tier 1 boots, but Scarf is a hero, no utility really in his kit other than maybe slowing down the enemy. Might help him out a bit, but we see Elite 8 trying to take this gold mine. It might get stolen, but no, Koshka there with the secure. There's going to be the Ion Cannon dropping in. Fountain is used on the side of Elite 8. Is it going to keep Koshka alive? Oh no, Koshka's in a full Scarf, actually able to do the damage, and it's going to be Elite 8 on the run now as Deity Stars takes up that kill, and then moving on to Anime Save Me, it's going to be Baron with a rocket jump. I always call it rocket jump, my bad.
Rocket jump.
With that. Jump jets to get in there and get the kill, but about the kill. Han Jaeger's coming out of nowhere with that passive on Gwen, as well as the tension bow, just able to do so much damage against the Scarf, who only has actually has no armor, but is more so focusing on that Koshka, which going to that point, you know, who do you think that makes sense? Koshka being the one in the front lines, but you can't really forget about Han Jaegers. How do you feel about that?
Well, they shouldn't have gotten the gold miner yet. That's what I thought. Like, it was too risky still. You cannot ignore the damage that Baron has, especially now with the Sorrow Blade and, you know, the tension bow now. And also Scarf with the slow, and you know you have the Scarf ultimate Fanny Flames, and then it is an ultimate slow. But hold that thought that actually gets Anime save me there in the porcupine water hit. They're backing away from this one. Surprising, it was really a surprising hook coming up from Delphire.
Yeah, and you can see that Elite 8 now having to be a bit more respective of the damage coming out. They weren't quite able to snowball it with the Lyra, but they've done a fairly decent job here as we see them ahead in Golder, but we'll have to talk about that just a second as Anime Saving goes in with the Arcane Passage. It's going to be Baron trying to get away from Official High, but Official High might find the kill. Who's going to get it? They're both going to trade out for the kills. Meanwhile, Scarf going to fall to Hun Jaegers, and Dalfa going to be the last one left on Artisan's having to run away from this fight. But I don't think he'll get out with his life as Hun Jaeger is on the chase and ready to get the kill. There's the quibble, but Hun Jaeger's with enough speed to dodge out that. It's actually going to go over to Anime Save Me as a cheeky little first pickup kill for them. I mean, roams need kills as well. It's not kill steal, it's kill secured.
Kill secured. Well, good job to Official Hind. Did you see what he did? He went back to Scarf and both Baron, tries to burst him, even if it costed his life, so that Hun Jaegers and Anime Save Me will eliminate any threat at the back and just basically pick off any dying heroes.
Any stragglers.
Stragglers.
Yeah, and we now see a Broken Myth game picked up on Koshka, but in respected to that, there is also the Echo that got picked up on Anime Save Me. We've seen a lot of use of Echo on roams recently, and it's really good to see it being utilized as an item, because we saw how much work it did in the previous game with Glaive Roam, able to always use that after burn, or at least use it twice. And then in a previous matchup we saw Arden, and Arden's a bit more of a common hero to get the Echo on. I believe it just makes sense to have two gauntlets up, and we'll have to see whether Elite 8 gets caught out as they're playing a bit dangerous.
There goes the Iron Cannon, hits Hun Jaegers. Now Rosie thought he's about to die. Official Hun. Oh, there goes the Fountain coming from Lyra, but Hun Jaegers is... Oh, Hun Jaegers got distracted with Finn. Now it's gonna get bursted. No. Saved by the Imperial Sigil. Oh my god, but you know Hun Jaeger's greedy! Sorry about that. Got kind of greedy though.
Yeah, I think Hun Jaeger's kind of just stuck between a rock and a hard place, and that hard place being Baron with the rocket launcher there, just putting out all the damage. And you can see now that Baron has the items he needs with the Sorrow Blade and the Tension Bow, building a bit more crit there as well. Baron's really a threat right now, but you can't forget Deity Stars, because Deity Stars with the Frostburn's just going to stay on the backline and slow you down. And I think it's what Official Heim falls to now, as we see them getting caught up with the Flames. But it's not going to be a fair fight right now, because if Baron's actually going to back out that one and not help Deity Stars, maybe that's the wrong choice, because Official Hind isn't out of it. This is where Arsons have that chance. If Arsons can stick together as a team and let Baron have that window of opportunity to put down the damage, but if he doesn't, he might die. He manages to jump jets away. He might even get another kill. Hun Jaeger's going solo, is going to fall to the turret. He gets the double kill. He might even chase this one for the triple kill as he takes the Arcane Passage in, but Anime Save Me able to run away in time to deny that one. But this is what I was talking about, the Baron being so strong, but you can't, they have to fight. I actually take that back. They don't need to fight together because Baron's so strong. Look at him, just going in and doing work. But I think it's safer to fight together. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And you know, you really can't help deny that this is the time where Koshka's power spike starts to fall off. Yeah, especially with the Baron, with the Tyrant's Mongol. If in case, I'm not sure, but if in case that Baron builds another Tyrant's Monocle, Koshka, when Koshka dives in, she's gonna get deleted.
I feel like it's almost not so much where Koshka's falling off, as we saw her able to do enough damage onto Deity Stars easily, in saying that Deity Stars with not too much defense at the moment, working his way to her Aegis, however. But I think it's more so the fact that Rosimi Toasty has just gone to that point, and we see him now actually picking up the Aegis, so he has the Aegis, Sorrow Blade, Tension Bow, and Tyrant's Monocle, and he's now got that weapon power fusion. I'm sure they want to turn this one around as Elite 8 dive in onto their turret.
Well, the Iron Cannon misses, but they were able to kill Baron and Scarf. Now, Koshka is the only one, 1v3. Koshka will be able to back away from Dylan. No, jump set and 2 auto attacks passive. They're converting it to an ace and a push.
And this is where you see the Finn really start to work out for them into the late game, where it's going to be Elite 8 who had the early game, and they're like, okay, we can jump in, we can be the initiators for the team fight. But then Finn's there to use Blight Company and make Baron a bit tankier. And Baron's kind of at this point able to just jump jets around everywhere and just put down the damage, really. So I think it's starting to be Artisan's game, if anything. And, you know, Elite 8 kind of had that moment at the start of the game where they really had to push ahead, but they didn't quite get far enough, as we now see Artisan's making a comeback here. Hello? Have I disconnected? I think maybe Milski is having some issues, so I'll continue on solo casting from here until she gets back, and we'll see. Hello? I hear a little cough in the background, but it looks like there's going to be the forced accord used, but the echo is there and is used, so it's going to be up once more. Hopefully Elite 8 have taken note of that, but it's going to be the Ion Cannon able to kill Lyra, and then Gwen is going to get pulled in by the forced accord, gets taken down, and this is Artisan's turning this one around with style, and just with great teamwork there. And you see Fountain being used at the end of that team fight, roasting your toast. You're getting a bit low, and you can tell that Elite 8 at this stage really needs to focus down that Baron if they want any chance of winning. But it's so hard with that Finn there for the defense, and even when they want to be the aggressors in these situations, Baron just has so much damage, and at this point in time, it's looking questionable to what exactly Elite 8 can do other than catching out someone from Artisan on their own.
Back.
Hello, welcome back. It's okay. I got this solo casting style, but now I can have a breath, and hopefully, I imagine you're still able to see the game, correct?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, then if there's anything you'd like to talk about in terms of builds, as we now see Baron actually picking up the tornado trigger. That is what it's called, right?
Yeah. Yeah, tornado trigger. Well, at first I was expecting that official time, Anime City and Hunt Jaegers will close down this game early, but good job to Artisan for holding this off until the late game. This is where Baron and the Scarf shines.
Yeah, and if we look in terms of gold, it's actually being flipped around now. Artisan's with gold lead at 37.7k over to the 35.9k, just slightly, but Artisan's have really been able to pull back coming towards this mid-game here, and it's kind of more important than the early game. The early game is important, but also if they could make advantage of that and really snowball into the late. But it might be Roasting Me Toasted getting caught out here alone, does use jump jets to get out, but it's going to be forced accord, and the echo is going to be used by Finn, so it's going to be up once more. Hopefully Elite 8 taking note of that, but saying how Artisan's really having maybe an advantage here by having the mid to late game, because that's when Kraken's up, and we just know how good taking this Kraken and how much of an end game kind of, I guess, requirement it is for most of the matches.
First of all, that's the official time. Just skip first. Official time actually survived with the passage. And now DD starts gonna get versus by Hunt Jaegers.
Wow.
Oh my god, did you see that?
Hunt Jaegers with a triple kill there. It was the initial engagement, and this was the thing, is the engagement by Lyra there with the arcane passage going through, and it really provided an easy way for Koshka to get in there, go on to Baron, and Baron just got taken out instantly. I don't think that Arsons were quite ready for that, as Doubtfire wasn't able to protect them, and Baron actually trying to jump out there did get killed, and then Hunt Jaegers kind of making his way around to Deity Stars. No one really kept Hunt Jaegers in check because there's just too much going on there, and I don't think they were prepared for that. They lost the Kraken to that, and they lost the turret, and it's now 12-12. And we go back to the fact of me saying, this Kraken is really going to be the end game requirement for these two teams, where we see both teams with 2 turrets left. They've been playing it so well up until this point. Of course, Elite 8 having a bit more of an early game, but just because of that one team fight there, have really brought back. As long as they can push this Kraken in, it should be a win for them, but we'll see how Artisans defend this one.
Okay, it was actually a smart play coming from Anime. They need to get Handjägers. Oh, but there is of course a cord, and they blocked the Quibble. Now they're just helping the Kraken get the turret. Official Heim obviously prioritizing this turret, and now they go in. Yeah, and this DD starts, but and one more jump hit, and Gwen just gets eliminated. But it will be this will be an. It was too
Artisan's able to defend this one, but Crystal's so low. Anime Save Me still up. It's just one more attack, and Anime Save Me gets it. Oh my, Impunity, what looked like such a turnaround from Artisans, and they did it in the last team fight, but it's Anime Save Me from Roma left up on that team, able to take the Crystal alongside Kraken. And what a game. That was so close. If Artisans turned that around, I'm sure they would have made sure to not lose the next fight. But in saying that, they would have had an open base against the Lyra, would have still been tough to defend. But we saw Artisans really turn it around towards the mid-game and played it so strong. I really wanted Artisans to win that one. It's kind of like the underdog team coming back. And they played it so well, but in the end, Elite 8 just taking that at the last second. Thanks to Anime Save Me.
It was. I think the main play there that is not to be ignored is that the Anime Save Me passage to the back line, so that Handjägers was able to burst Baron and Scarf, and they were able to get that ace, and then that Kraken